Kala, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Prakatahal, Prakatahal Shah, Prakatahal, Prakatahal Shah, Prakatahal, Prakatahal Shah, the water, above the ball, called Kadash. I'd like to give double honors to the elders, apostles, great millstone that teaches truth, that we know is 100% truth, true word of our Lord. Yahweh being the Father, Yahweh Shah being the Son, our Redeemer. Big brother Yahweh Shah. Numbers chapter 23, verse 21. Surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and of Israel, what hath Yahweh wrought? So there's no enchantment against you Israelites. And it's talking about the elect men, women, the elect men, women, and children of Israel. Because the Lord is going to protect you from these spells that Esau Edom has been using on our people. And what inspired me to do this lesson, one of the main topics, headlines that's going over the airways is, these so-called attempt on the president's life the other day, and a guy come running there like from out of the movie Matrix, past the security detail, and he just, he's armed to the tooth, and it's just so much enchantment. There's so much wrong with that story that just doesn't add up. But we know that he is known for his enchantments, man, to what they call psyops. And they bring about these psyops for a particular reason, either to distract you, to get you all focused off one thing, or to create something order out of chaos where they can bring in and implement something that they want that's going to benefit on their behalf. But I was watching a brother video, The True Doctrine 144 sequel. And brother's giving a breakdown, so I'm going to land back off of his video. But let me see, let you listen to this part.
But that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything about the shooter. And I know that our greatest actress, politician, company owner, demon, Erica Kirk, was, putting her tear eye drops
Fair use.
in and running away. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean this was fake. And I know that, whenever they were doing interviews and said there's going to be shots fired tonight, then they weren't talking about the real shots. That was just, figure of work.
This niche tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight. Everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I wish that I know this totally wasn't a false flag. We're totally not Red Bill Doyle who know exactly what's going on.
Now, what this guy was doing is making satire, about what happened, because everybody knows this bullshit for the most. You're still gonna have a lot of these simple Babylonians, these Americans that believe anything the dudes took.
Yeah, like the brother said, man, everybody knows it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of fuckery that's going on. And like when she was doing that interview, the chick, they have to put out there what they're going to do. That's part of their left-hand magic. You have to say what you're going to do before you do it in order for it to work. And that's part of something they do on the left-hand side, but that's a lesson for another day. But it was just so much that was wrong with the whole scenario. Like I said, the guy coming in there, they got layers of protection. He make it far enough in there with all his weaponry to be able to let off some shots and then not get unalive, people still sitting around, after the incident going on. It's one guy sitting there still eating a salad, people grabbing bottles of wine. The president didn't even move. It's just a whole lot of theatrics. And the people they starting to see through it because the Lord is lifting the veil off Esau Edom, man. He's revealing this devil for who he is, man. He's nothing but a liar, a trickster, a murderer, a thief, a land grabber, a resource grabber. Anything that you can name, it fits the his characteristics. And that's why it goes back to Esau. Esau, man, he was a carnal man. He didn't think about nothing and nobody else but himself. And that's what this devil does. He's all for himself. And right now, he's being put on full display. His tricks are not working anymore. Especially on the elect of Israel. They're not going to, what the scripture says, surely there is no enchantment against Jacob, neither is there any divination against Israel. According to this time, it shall be said of Jacob and Israel, what hath God wrought? And it's another use of enchantments that they did back in the days. You go back to Numbers chapter, can you see that? Shalakia. Numbers chapter 24, verse 1. And when Balaam saw that it pleased the Lord Yahweh to bless Israel, he went not as at other times to seek for enchantments, but he set his face towards the wilderness. So they always try to use that type of enchantments against our people. That's left-hand magic, putting people up under a spell or putting curses on our people. Now, bear with me for a second. It's another precept I'm looking for real quick. But you go back to Exodus, with Pharaoh and the wise men of Egypt. They were using magic and enchantments, with their magicians, with their sorcery. And it's Exodus chapter 7, verse 11. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers, now the magicians of Egypt. They also did like manner with their enchantments. That's when they was before Moses, and they laid down, and their rods became serpents, but all that was really nothing but magic. And like the brother was saying in this video, once people realize that these tricks of a magician, they don't work anymore. And that's how it is for Esau Edom. That's how we know that we at the end of this thing, because he no longer can rule by using his left-hand magic, his enchantments anymore. And he's going to be left bare. And once he's left open, because that's half of his battle, man. That's how he able to deceive and conquer most of the people through his left-hand magic, his enchantments. A lot of it, he put a spell over the enemy, especially our people, and making them think he's a lot more than what he is. And this goes back to the Wizard of Oz movie. Let me pull that precept up. For the precept of Is This the Man? That's going to be Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16. The prophet Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. And who are the prisoners? You Israelites, man. You so-called black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, man. You're prisoners of war. And so the Lord has revealed this devil, man, and showing that he's nothing but a base man, you know. Only thing he's been able to use was his enchantments. And, you know, you look at a lot of these fighters and stuff like that, or some juggernaut football teams sometimes, a lot of times they're able to defeat the enemy just by their presence alone. You know, they win the fight before the fight even begins because they already got in their mind that they're going to lose because, you know, foreshadowing, thinking that this is going to bring so much power and destruction. But right now, the Lord is revealing this man. You know, he's showing that he's nothing but a weakling. You know, we can see what's going on like in Iran. It's exposing him, man, that he's outdated now. And now these other nations are looking at him and they can taste the blood in the water, just like a shark. And so now they see the weaknesses that's there, that's being on display. So all these other nations are gearing up for the attack. That leads us to Revelation chapter 13, or Revelation chapter 17 and 18, where it goes into that whore that sits upon the beast. The Lord exposing him, man. You know, he's showing Esau, you know, that he's not what he's always built himself up to be. And you think about it, he hasn't run a war since World War II. And really, he didn't win that war. We know who won that war. It wasn't well, they was Edomites too, but it wasn't Babylon. It wasn't Babylon the Great. She really hasn't really won any wars. Look what happened in Vietnam, and from Vietnam on, man. She's just been losing her power, man. We also say Revelations chapter 17. Revelation chapter 17, verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon the many waters. And who's that whore that sitteth upon the many waters, man? That's Babylon the Great. You know, and by exposing, breaking the seals, we're able to see now who that whore is, man. That whore is Babylon the Great, America, aka America, man. Whom the kings of the earth had committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. And part of that drunk and with the wine of her fornication is her enchantments that she's put on the whole world, man. Making the whole world think that she's more than what she is, you know, through her enchantments, you know, and things that she does to manipulate these other countries, you know, by creating chaos in these other nations, you know, going there and bringing democracy. And when you leave out, it's nothing but chaos. They got these nations fighting against each other in turmoil. Look what she's done over there in the so-called Middle East. Nothing but turn those people against each other. Took out their leaders like they did Iraq and what's another one? Syria and all these other places, man. Coming over there and bringing them liberation, or supposed to be liberation, but really just destroyed the whole country and leave those people in chaos. That's why they go over there and steal the resources. Verse 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, abomination of the earth. And why is it mystery? Because did nobody know who she was until now. Now the seal's been revealed and opened. We now see who she is. She's that man that's behind the curtain that, you know, made all the nations to tremble, you know, that made the earth desolate, you know, that destroyed the earth. And one of Esau's Edom famous saying is that we're going to tame the earth, you know, instead of working in harmony with the earth. You know, try to make it make sense. And I will show thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. And by sitting on the many waters, she's got her hand in everybody's damn business. In all these other countries, she's got military bases set up. Over 800 military bases throughout the world, man, to create that chaos and that division. to undermine the people. Like right now, like say she's being exposed, and her allies, which are the 10 horns, you know, let me go verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, they shall hate the whore and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And also now they see who she is, they exposing her. You know, they turn their back on this whore. They seeing that she's been manipulating and destroying them as well, her allies, you know. Verse 18, that woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. So we're in the time, man. We're in a beautiful time. Esau and his enchantments going out. Like I said, he's getting desperate. And he's just pulling anything, throwing anything he can against the wall, man. That shit ain't sticking. You know, trying to find something that's going to stick and persuade the people. But he at this point now, he just don't give a damn. He don't even try to make it look legit anymore. And so, you know, we know we at that time, man. Lord's about to make his return, so this devil is he's on life alert, man. He's on his he got a pacemaker in, and that's about to go out. You know, so Lord will that we are able to endure. We thank the Lord every day, man, through water, to be able to see this time that we in, to see these enchantments, you know, that he's see through these enchantments that a lot of people can't see through. You know, a lot of people still believe in everything that, you know, comes out on that television, man. So Lord will we able to endure with that, say shalom.